Are you on the fence about where your next move is going to take you? So many times I get the question of, should I live in Michigan or should I live in Ohio? I've got some friends in Michigan, but I've got family that's in West Toledo, Sylvania area. So, Mick, where is the cost of living better at for me long term in Ohio and Michigan? And today, we're going to help answer that question for you. So, there's a couple different factors that go into cost of living, as we all know. Real estate being one of them, and that's going to be the main area of focus. But there's a couple other things that go into that, and I'm just going to touch on that really quick. So let's go ahead and get into this. From a real estate perspective, let's start out and look at what the biggest piece of the pie is, and that's going to be, to me, average sales price. So we're really focusing in on the West Toledo market, Sylvania, and the Temperance, Lambertville, Michigan area, because it's all kind of interconnected a little bit. Generally, that's where I see buyers who are looking in that corridor. So that's where our focus is going to be at. So if we're looking in Sylvania, average sales price is going to be about $256,000. In the West Toledo area, you're looking at closer to $133,000. In the Temperance area, 189 is about what the average sales price is there. So from an average sales price standpoint, you can see that Sylvania is going to be a little bit higher, Temperance right behind it, and Toledo is going to be the lowest. Okay, so that's good. Now let's talk about those property taxes, because those are going to have a big effect too. So Sylvania is going to have the highest property taxes. They're going to be somewhere between $450 and $650 a month based on that average sales price, right? So if you're, living in a $400,000 house, you can expect higher taxes. If you're in a 100 to a 150, again, the 450 to 650 is based on that 256 sales price, okay? In Toledo, you can expect to pay considerably less, about $150 to $250 a month in property taxes. And Michigan's going to be similar to the city, somewhere between $200 and $250 a month. Okay? So as we look at it right now, it seems like, gosh, it's really expensive to live in Sylvania, and Toledo and Temperance look a little bit more attractive. Well, on the surface, yes, one would say that. But let's get into the big debate, and that is car insurance. What kind of effect is car insurance going to have on my overall cost of living? And this is where things kind of start to get leveled out a little bit. So whether you're in Sylvania or you're in Toledo, your car insurance is going to be about the same, right? So the average car, a Honda Accord 4-door, you're going to pay about $65 a month for coverage on that car. That same car up in Michigan is going to be closer to $173 a month. So big difference when we're talking about car insurance, Ohio versus Michigan. Okay, so a couple other things that we want to think about in terms of cost of living as well. Dining out. So when we look at dining out, Sylvania and Temperance are going to be very similar for two people, a couple. Going out to dinner, you're going to be looking anywhere from $40 to $50. In the city, it's going to be just marginally cheaper. Our rates were coming in closer to like $32 to $38 for two people to go out to eat. So fairly similar, again, a little bit higher in Sylvania and Temperance. Gas prices, when I checked, were favoring our friends in Ohio a little bit more than Michigan. Toledo was slightly better at $1.94 was one of the better prices I could find. Sylvania was $2.25 and Michigan was $2.29. So fuel's a little bit higher up north, but not by much. Maybe take that into consideration if you drive a lot, like, I don't know if you're a real estate agent, maybe you're driving all the time, or you're an appraiser, you're constantly on the road. But if you got a home office and you're always working from home, maybe that's not going to be such a big of a factor, okay? So we've looked at dining out, we've looked at getting gas, we've looked at the cost of car insurance and how that affects things. So let's kind of pull it all and bring it all together. So since dining and fuel are pretty much the same. We're going to kind of throw those out, put those off to the side right now. That's going to be more on a per person basis. So how I kind of went about this was I said, okay, let's make the playing field a little bit more level, right? So if we're looking at just a $175,000 house, which I felt was kind of in the middle of all three of our market segments. So if you buy a $175,000 house in Sylvania or Toledo or Temperance, what are those costs going to look like? And what we found out is that it's going to be really similar. So in Toledo, your average bills, including your mortgage and your taxes and that kind of good stuff, it's going to be about $1,100, maybe $1,200 every month. In Temperance, you're going to be closer to like $1,150 to $1,250, and in Sylvania, you're going to be closer to that $1,250 mark. Again, when we're figuring in car insurance into that, that is what really levels us out when we're comparing Temperance with the Toledo and Sylvania markets of Ohio. Okay? Obviously, if we're looking just at buying a house in a certain market area with the car insurance leveling things out at that flat 175 rate, we can make the general assumption, okay, that if you're going to buy a house with Sylvania having a little higher average sales price than Temperance and Toledo, the cost of living there is going to be slightly higher than it is in the other two markets. I hope you guys found this video to be super beneficial, and when you hear people say, well, it's cheaper to live in Michigan because our property taxes are lower, and people in Ohio are saying, no, it's cheaper to live in Ohio because we have better insurance rates. Just know at the end of the day, it all kind of shakes out to the same. And what's most important is that you find the home that you're in love with. That's what's most important. If you guys are looking for a home in Southeast Michigan or in Northwest Ohio, feel free to give me a call, or if you're just looking for advice, I'm here to help as well. 419-279-7065, or check me out at mickshometeam.com. Thanks a lot.